All right. I hope you can hear me, but here we are. All right, everybody. One to testing. Let me know if you're here. But hold up, hold up. Oh, there we go. Here is our chat section. So let's get started. Welcome to another exciting episode of A Tough Love Giggles on your go to online radio station, After5Radio, dedicated to celebrating Africans in the diaspora. I am your host, aka the Hype Lady, Miss Tando Amy, coming to you live all the way from Canada. And today I have the pleasure of speaking with an incredibly gifted musical artist. She is soulful, powerful, and deeply rooted in her culture. Born and raised in Harare, Zimbabwe, guys. Today's guest is not just a musician, but she's also a storyteller and a truth teller and a force of advocacy. And we're going to get into that. But with the spiritual sounds of mbira fused with rebel rhythm of reggae, she's crafted a sound that speaks to the struggles and strengths of women and realities of youth and the heartbeat of her community. She's also a solo performer and composer, a singer and songwriter, as well as a bold voice in social justice. And this is going to be actually an interesting one, so stay tuned for that one. And so, using her art to challenge norms, celebrate resilience, and spark change, she is here to tell us all about it. Please help me welcome Alethea. Is it Alethea or Alethea? How do you pronounce your name so that I don't butcher it beyond?
It's Alethea. It's Alethea.
Yeah, Alethea. Alethea.
Yes.
Okay, not too bad, not too bad. I was like, oh my gosh. But what does your name mean before we get into it?
Ironically, it means truth.
Oh
Alethea means truth. Yes, the
no,
goddess of
but
truth.
but but you know what? These names, they do have meaning. They actually bring out exactly what we were meant to be, and we cannot wait for the truth to hear how much of a truth teller you are, as well as a storyteller. But thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you so much. What an introduction. My God. I hope I can live up to it. Yeah, the way it sounds like, my goodness. Wow.
Oh no, you got this. You got this. You got this. I trust that. I trust that you're good. But
Thank you
anyway,
so much.
just to start off with your background, really, introductions, and your background for our listeners who may not know yet who you are. How did you? Let's just start with childhood. How did you get into music? How did you decide or get into the musical journey?
So I come from a family of musicians, really. Most of my family, my siblings, my aunts, my mom, they all sing. They're singers. So I guess it's something I grew up watching. So and I got introduced to from a very early age. Yes, I used to sing in church as well. I was in the church choir. I used to participate in art competitions. I used to dance too. So music has actually been part of my life from the time I remember, from since childhood. I've been singing. Yeah. So yeah, I guess it's I can nurture. I guess it's I just grew up into it. I grew up listening to my family, my cousins. They all love music, the music lovers. So I guess I just became one of them too.
All
You
right.
know.
And
Mhm.
did you also, meaning that your journey was never as difficult as some families would be, because considering that the arts are not considered professional coming
Yes.
from.
Well, yeah. However,
Yeah,
there's a condition to this. These are
right.
musicians, these singers, but you have to sing Christian music. It has to be godly music. See, that's where the condition was. So, of
Oh,
course,
wow.
also, as much as you can sing, it's not really something professional. You can do it at church, you can do it as
Yeah.
part of worshiping, but not really professionally. You get the side eye if you want to take it up professionally. Like, okay, yeah, but are you sure you want to do this?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a thing. I think it's a cultural thing, really.
Yeah.
It's difficult to actually convince your parents that, I want to take this up professionally. I actually didn't take it up professionally. Early on, I had a whole traditional path: go to school, get a
Yeah.
commercial degree, and then when you're set with your money and your time, you can do
Mm.
what you want.
Mm. Usually
Yeah,
that's the case, right? As long
that's
as you're under
exactly
my
what happened.
roof, you do what I want.
Exactly.
But once you start making your own money, do whatever you want with your own money.
Exactly. Yes,
No,
literally.
that's quite interesting. That is so amazing. But no, that is lovely knowing that you come from a musically inclined background, and it makes it easier, right? And but then didn't you ever feel, what if I am not the talented one? Sometimes there's that, am I, maybe I'm not the talented one. How come everybody else can do it, but I can't?
Yeah, so what's funny is that
Mm,
when we were growing up,
yeah.
when we listened to music, to your Mariah Carey, your big musicians, you try to imitate them. So there was a thing amongst us,
Yeah.
friends, cousins. If you can imitate Beyonce's riff or Mariah's riff, you could. So that was what determined how good you were.
Are you
So if you can copy
serious?
your art, yes, if you can copy the musicians, can you sing like them? Okay, that's the standard. So you could.
Oh, wow. And
It's ridiculous, I know.
to
Mhm.
think Mariah and Whitney were the most, yeah,
Exactly.
powerful voices.
Exactly. So that was the benchmark.
I wouldn't know about Beyonce, but
Well,
I don't know. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. There's a moment I used to be a fan, and until I think maybe, geez, I think after the whole start of Sasha Fierce, all that weird stuff. Yeah, yeah. I just grew out of it. I don't know, which is weird. But then, yeah, I don't know.
mhm,
But you're right though, because she
mhm.
was the artist back then, right? She was the artist back then. Oh yeah, compare to Beyonce, Mariah Carey, you've made it. Like you're good.
Yes, it's about the technicalities. Can you do what they do? Can you copy them? If you're good, if
Wow,
you can at least attempt to, then we know you're all right. You're talented.
you'll
You
be
can do
fine.
it. You'll be fine. So
And
that's how you
once you
knew.
become consistent, we won't be worried about you.
Exactly, but that's dangerous now because being an artist requires you to find your own voice.
Your
You
own,
can't be
yeah,
imitating other people. That's dangerous because you may not sound like them, or even, God forbid, be able to do what they do. But that doesn't mean you're not talented. That
right,
was the dangerous part because, I mean, who can live up to those people anyway? So
right.
yeah, so well, you just had to have some faith, I guess,
Wow,
in your ability.
that's
Or maybe
huge.
watch the way people respond at church. If you get to know there's like a genuine look of happiness and clapping of hands, then you can
Yeah.
actually trust that. Okay, I think I'm okay. But yeah,
Oh
you just watch
wow,
the response.
wow. That's huge. That's huge. But I'm glad you did it. I'm glad
Oh,
you did it. I'm glad we're here
mhm.
and we're talking about it. So we have Cornelius who's actually tuned in all the way from Zimbabwe. Thank you so much, Cornelius, for tuning in. And everybody else who's actually tuned in, just come through and let us know where you're listening from. And if you have any questions, do come through. We will be taking questions. And if I don't get to see your questions, please bear with me because I am also learning the system and we kind of have a new system here. And I am supposed to be giving feedback on what we're missing or what's not working. And also, if our sound is not good enough, do let us know as well so we can figure that out as well and our video quality for the both of us. But I would like to think we're good. And
Yeah.
so right about now we're actually getting into the introduction and background of knowing Alethea, just to hear how she started, how she got into music, and only to learn that her family is musically inclined, so it's one of those where you're like, oh, okay, I guess maybe they expected it, they were not surprised, and here we are, right? So moving on, still on introduction and background. So growing up in Harare, what were some of the sounds then or experiences that shaped your love for mbira, seeing that the condition was to stay in gospel, but then you got into mbira, you got into reggae, and mbira
Mhm.
would actually contradict gospel in a way,
Yes, big
like big
time.
time, because it's more on the traditional side of things, and it would actually fall under what maybe they would take it deeper and say spiritual, right?
Spirituality, yes.
Comparing to
Mhm.
religion. So how
That's
did you then, let's start with where some of the sounds or experiences that shaped your love for mbira, where that came from with the contradiction of the condition.
that's true. So it was curiosity.
Mm,
It's because Mbira has a way of taking you into taking you into a trance. So obviously that didn't sit well with my mom specifically because she's found it uncomfortable and clean. So I could only, I guess, learn about these things at school, away from home, where she couldn't see. She couldn't really watch what I did. So I guess it was curiosity. I don't want to say out of rebellion. That's a bit too strong a word, but also, as I studied and as I got introduced to the whole culture of mbira, marimba, and all these traditional instruments, I got to appreciate how that is actually an identity. It's a cultural thing. It's what makes us Zimbabwean. Most Zimbabwean musicians are known for mbira, like you Stella Chiweshe, Chiwoniso, and like the big artists. And I'm like, I want to be like those people. And there isn't really a specific sound that differentiates you from other artists. And so mbira music was something I could look up to, or mbira musicians rather, were people I could look up to. So I wanted to learn and understand what made them special, how they became who they were. So I guess it's curiosity. I
mhm.
wanted to understand why these people are, and what is it about this mbira that my mom doesn't want me to,
Right,
to
exactly.
see or
And you know
to
how
find out.
sometimes
Yeah.
what you're not allowed to do is where you want to
Where
go.
you go? That's true. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So yeah.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
good for you.
Mhm.
Good for you. And so how about reggae then? Because mbira,
Right.
we know about cultural. And this is
True.
the one thing I really need to ask artists. I always
Yes.
want to ask, especially Zimbabwean artists, where you
Mhm.
see people gravitating towards reggae or dancehall. They end up
Dancehall.
saying Zim dancehall, right?
Mhm.
But is that really our culture? Or, like you said, mbira, definitely we know it's our culture. But then why
Mhm.
then do we get into the whole dancehall? Because we're now going the Caribbean way, we're going the Jamaican way, we're going the, I've always wondered.
I think it's I'd like to believe it's because of Bob Marley and the
Okay.
fact that he performed on
Independence.
Independence Day. I
Mm,
think that that was something significant and something that we should not take lightly. So I
yeah.
guess the influence from that, like from him as an artist. Also, reggae has a rawness to it. I mean, I
Mm,
have compared to most of these other genres, there's no other
yeah.
genre where you can literally show up as yourself. And reggae allows you to do that. There's that
Mm,
authenticity that you get from reggae, and also the spirituality of it. Like it's also, well, I guess to some extent, some African countries also. I guess see reggae is also part of their their heritage and their culture and their musical identity.
yeah.
So yeah, I think yeah, definitely, it's something that allows you to be yourself. Reggae music
Mm.
and the reggae culture itself. I can literally just go to a reggae party, as dressed as I am. I don't need to go up, get on stage, take a mic, and start chanting or just send my message. And that is something that I appreciate and I love.
Yeah,
You don't find
yeah.
that in other cultures and other, whether it's R&B, whether it's you know, rock or pop. You have to look
Yeah.
a certain way, you have to conform to certain standards, which is still great.
Yeah.
But I love that reggae allows you to be raw, to be yourself, and to just
Mm,
speak your mind,
yeah.
and also it does kind of take you to a trance. Also, the rhythms and the simplicity of it, the message, it's very
Mm.
welcoming, and it allows you to be yourself. I think
Ooh,
it's um,
check you out. Check you out. I like that. I like that. I guess maybe also depending on background too, right?
true.
Because if
Of
you
course.
look at
Mhm,
American artists, when you look at rappers,
mhm.
they come as raw as they are
That's true. Oh,
because of,
yes. Yes.
yeah, because
Yeah.
of their background, because of what they've seen, what they've experienced, and they say they're telling the truth, they're telling their stories, and you have to pay
Mhm.
attention. And sometimes you
Right.
wouldn't understand. Actually, something that I thought I should bring up right now, I just thought about it, is I never used to understand the one thing that I'm still learning. People, when I tell them that I've been here for what, 14 years, 14, yeah, 14 years here, and they're like, oh my gosh, you're not Canadian. I'm like, trust me, guess what? I am
Mhm,
learning
mhm,
something that actually used to baffle me so much, in the sense that
mhm.
I felt it was a little bit too much, the whole pro black this, pro black that, pro black. And I have an American sister, black American sister, who I am learning so much from, in the sense that I thought she was being a little bit too extra, but why
Mhm,
was I thinking that way? I had to sit down and think and look at myself and say, why am I
mhm.
actually thinking that way? But guess what? I was the
Mhm.
I grew up, I was born and raised in as a majority.
Uh-huh.
So
Yes.
it was normal being around black people. So to me, I'm like,
Mhm.
why are you making it sound as if it's this special thing? you know, I found it to be too much. And then so
Oh,
now
okay.
you're now living as a minority, and you're kind of
Mhm.
seeing, like,
Uh,
oh yeah, so that's what
there's a culture
racism looks
shock. Yeah.
like. This is what
Yeah.
racism looks like. Oh wow.
Mhm.
Like, oh, because now I'm the minority. Because so
Yeah.
culture is huge. And
It
now that's
is.
when you kind of start diving deeper into, oh, so why did we grow up listening to this type of sound? Why did we grow up
Right.
listening to this type of music? And what is
Right.
rap? Because I never loved rap. And then now when you listen to rap, it's like they're speaking their truth, right?
Yes.
So now
Right.
it actually makes us appreciate your music, mbira, right? To say, but how are you tuning into those keys? What does that key mean culturally?
Exactly.
What does,
Mhm.
it's this is why I ask these questions. I'm like, why is it,
Okay.
Zimbabweans we gravitate towards Jamaica? Why do we, because reggae is not our sound? And then I see mbira. Why is it we have so many talented mbira people that are not celebrated, right?
Right.
Let's bring
Mhm.
them out and hear their drive, their influence, their motivation, and what have you. So it's a whole lot, where if you're open to learning, you will see a
Yes.
lot,
That's true. That's true. Yeah, you're spot
right?
on. Mhm.
But anyway, I don't know if there's anybody who struggled with what I'm struggling with, but now we're getting there. We're learning some stuff and learning new stuff, which is a good
Mhm.
thing, because we all
Yes.
need that. We all need
That's
to learn new things. But anyway, getting into our music and what you call it, music and artistry, where we dive deeper into exploring the cultural practices, religion. Sorry, this is actually the culture and the thing, music. So mbira and reggae. Let's get back to mbira and reggae. Powerful and spiritual sounds, as we're saying.
yes.
So what
Mhm.
inspired you though to blend into them? I know curiosity was one of
Right.
them, but
Mhm.
what did you hope for your listeners to feel when they heard your music, considering that you grew up in the church,
Right.
right? Grew up in the church, and then the church is usually a safer space to be in,
It
right?
is.
So I don't know. Did you actually think what your audience was going to be like, considering how Western inclined we are musically
Yes.
back home?
That's that's exactly why I decided to blend in mbira and reggae. I was looking for something that can differentiate me as a musician, as a Zimbabwean musician
Yeah.
specifically. I don't want to sound Western. I mean, we already have enough of Western talented artists, and you can name them. I don't want to be one of them. I need
Yeah.
something that's going to represent my culture. I need something that's going to represent my heritage. And
Mm,
mbira was one thing that could do that. And then reggae, because I resonate with it, something that I loved. It's like I said, I appreciate that you are yourself. You can be yourself. Uh, Compared to hip hop, I've never been a hip hop fan really,
mm.
so it would have been a disservice really to, to
I
try
know,
and
right?
like, okay, of course, sure, I could hop on it, but no, I
Right.
have no passion for it. So reggae, because I'm passionate about it, I love the music, and mbira because it identifies me and
Mm,
it represents my culture. It represents me. That's what inspired me to blend in the two. I didn't want to be
mm,
boxed and say, okay, I'm another mbira artist
mm,
or I'm another reggae musician. If I was going to be a reggae musician, then I'll be like, oh, another reggae wannabe, you know.
mm,
So I needed something that I love, something that I appreciate, and
mm,
something that could represent me
mm.
and my home and my culture and my Africanness. So
Yeah.
blending mbira and reggae was the way to go. It was actually an experiment, and I'm happy it turned out pretty well.
It turned out pretty well, and so I actually listened to your music, and I was like, and even just your voice on its own, I was like, holy, okay. Now that it makes sense when you say, oh, I come from a musical family background, and I'm like, oh, okay, I get it.
Thank you.
Right, and then you go with the whole powerful and spiritual sounds, which
Mhm,
are amazing. But did you not feel to a certain extent? I know you've blended with reggae, but looking at the
mhm,
likes of the talented Chuniso, the Stella Chiweshi and stuff like that.
mhm.
Did you not feel, am I gonna be as good as them? Did you think about that, or you had this whole, I'm not gonna compare myself because I am me, I am my own sound, and you know, were
Mhm.
you not somewhat threatened in a way, or just thinking, am I gonna be good enough?
I think it's natural to compare
Okay.
yourself. I think we human beings are like that. So
Yeah.
you do think about it. You're like, yes, it's I guess you're self-conscious sometimes. Like, okay,
Yeah.
this is something I'm gonna take on. And I know I will be compared. People
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah. Yeah. I
But
know,
then
right? Yeah.
I had to develop a thick skin, like, you know what, I just have to accept it. People are gonna
Yeah.
talk. They'll never stop talking. They
Of
will compare.
course.
And
Yeah.
I am gonna feel some type of way about it. But if I'm gonna do this, I have to suck it up,
Yeah.
and then of course I definitely consider that, like, okay, if I'm going to do this, how big am I going to be, or how successful am I going to be? I guess it's
Mhm.
just a matter of appreciating what I do and doing my best, and however people respond to it, how
Mm.
they take it, that's it. I can't control it.
Yeah.
I can only control what I do. I can only control the message I'm trying to send out, and I can only control how prepared I am, how what my message, if it resonates, and hope for the best. Comparison
Right.
once in a while, definitely. Like, for
Right.
somebody, but damn, because I do get those side eyes. Like, what are you doing? Like,
Really?
because
Really?
people are used to the mbira sound. There's a certain way
Yeah.
you play it.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Like,
Right.
just just wait and
So
wait for the
have you
finish.
actually gone international with it, or are there any aspirations of doing that? Because
Oh,
yeah, because there's so many African festivals out here that they really, they would love to listen to, authentic, true storytelling through music and
mhm.
traditional type of music.
Yes.
Have you thought about that?
I have definitely considered it. I haven't yet performed on an international stage yet. It's definitely
Okay.
work in progress. I would love to. It's actually
Yeah.
something we've been working on, like participating in these festivals. It's
Yeah.
definitely something to look forward to doing.
Right. Ha!
Mhm.
Ha! We'll look forward to that one. And normally, I think we have, I forgot what it's called here. We actually have it. I think Oliver Mtugudu used to come every time. I forgot what it was, but no, one
Mhm,
day I know we'll see you there. So, how your lyrics then? Your lyrics touch on deep social issues
mhm.
where some people could be uncomfortable
Yes,
considering where we come from, considering
that's true.
our culture. So, do
Yes.
you write from your personal experience or
Mhm.
observation or both? Because you know
It's
how sometimes when we put ourselves out there, like you
yes.
said, people always tend to compare when it comes to your sound. But then
Mhm.
now, when it comes to the lyrics, when it comes to the words, when it comes to the story, people
Mhm.
tend to start questioning,
You're right.
is this you? Is this person? And we
Mhm.
live in a social media space where if you're not careful, yeah, don't listen to everything that's on social media, to be honest. I actually
Mhm.
sometimes deceive where I want to, just so I can teach people that don't listen to everything that's on
Right.
social media, right?
That's great.
And I've always
Mhm.
said it to people when they come to me, how come? And I was like, yeah, I'm glad that you asked me that question because I wanted to
Mhm.
see how deep you're going to think about that.
Right.
Right.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yes. So I think because some conversations are taboo or
Mm.
impolite, especially
Yeah.
considering our culture and our tradition, you don't talk about these things. If you
Mm.
do, you talk about them with your aunties, closed doors, and then you talk about these issues. I found that music was a safe way, a safe medium to actually raise awareness. So it's like a cheat code. Like, okay,
Mm.
the only way you're gonna pay attention is if there's either a poem or a
Mm.
book or a
Mm.
song about it. Just talking about it, it makes people uncomfortable. But
Yeah.
if you sing about it, like, oh, okay, all right, maybe it's just a song. So it's like
Mm.
a way to raise awareness and to bring about these topics that people don't like talking about. But then they still affect us and they affect people, affect our family, our siblings, our mothers, our aunts, our uncles. So
Mm.
it's from both. Personally, I don't really write my personal experience per se, but I do write what I see. And this could be amongst my family, maybe what I saw my aunts and my mothers go through, what I saw my sisters go through,
Mm.
and what I see my friends go through. Sometimes personally, it's actually a way to actually deal with even my what I will be going through at that time. If I'm going through something, whether it's a struggle, it's writing these stories or, you know, thinking about them, listening to music that resonates is actually a way that I deal with it. So it's both. It's definitely both.
Mm. Oh
Mhm.
wow, that's powerful though. And also, like you say, we now live in a social media world where
People
I
want to
think
see
there's
what
so much exposure and so much
right.
information, right?
Yes.
And people are now able to have a voice
Yes.
compared to
That's
back then,
that's
right?
true. Hmm.
And like you said, raising awareness through
Hmm.
music.
Hmm.
But have you ever felt fear to say, what if this comes back haunting me in a way by just being expressive?
Oh yes, I definitely understand the repercussions to it.
Mm.
Um, I have to mentally prepare because it might come back, and it usually does, because it's
Mm.
not everybody that's going to accept that, and that's going to appreciate that. And
Mm.
so I understand. Definitely, there will be backlash, and it's okay. It's normal. I mean, I can't agree with everybody, and
Mm.
I'm not everybody's cup of tea, like that. What people like to say.
I know, right? Exactly. Because as you answer, not everybody's cup of tea because I'm
See,
champagne, baby. But it
I didn't say I'm anything.
no. I am saying I'm champagne. Just so you know. And with
I love
confidence.
it. I love it. I love it. Definitely.
I
I
saw
think that
this kiddo. I saw this kiddo doing, oh yeah, I'm not everybody's cup of tea. You know these memes, right? I'm not everybody's cup of tea because guess what? I'm champagne, baby. I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like,
of
I'm gonna
course,
run with this one.
of course, you have to tell yourself these things. I mean, nobody's
Yeah,
gonna tell you.
yeah.
Yes, you gotta hype yourself up. It's your self-esteem after all.
I
Yeah.
know, right? Because if you don't, no one will. I'm sorry.
No,
I am one of those. If nobody says it, I will say it.
I will say it. I love that. Definitely. No, you're right. You're definitely right.
That is so beautiful. I'm just glad that you also like when you talk about these stories,
Mhm.
it's not just about you, right? Because at the end of the day, we are out here to talk to people, to minister to people, be it through music, be it through whatever gifts that we have, and for you to
Right.
even touch your music touching people's lives,
Mhm.
souls, what have you, depending on how people are touched with your music.
That's true.
Some
Mhm.
people get through healing through that.
That's
You
true.
understand? Because, like you said, there's some issues that we cannot talk about
Mhm.
considering our culture, where we come
That's
from,
true.
right? But
Mm.
you still go with it and you're
Right.
like, consequences are
Yeah.
there, but
Mhm.
we'll deal
Yeah.
with them when we get there. Once we get
Let's
there, yeah,
figure
we'll
it
be
out.
ready.
That's
Anyway, too much is given, much is required. So it
that's
is what it is. God knew what he was doing. So with that being
Mhm.
said, how do you balance being a storyteller and an activist in music?
I don't see the two as separate. I actually
Mm,
see it as an activist who uses storytelling to
mm.
send a message. Yes. So it's like storytelling is actually a medium, like,
Oh,
okay. Mhm. So I don't see the two as separate persons. It's one
right,
person. I'm an activist. What am I going to use? What tools am I going to use to send my message or to raise awareness or to be an advocate for this? Yeah, use
right,
storytelling, use music. Yeah. Mhm.
right. Huh.
Mhm.
Darn, I like that. I like that. So you're the one person that I love, um, who knows her why. You're so confident in your why, how I am going this way and I am ready for what comes my way. I like that. I
Oh,
like
thank you.
that. Being an activist and knowing that, oh, okay, the best medium for this is
It's
through music,
yes,
right?
right. Mhm.
Check you out. I feel inspired. I always feel inspired every second I get to hang out with people. So,
I'm glad. That's the point. That's exactly why I do this. I'm glad. Thank you.
right. We thank you. We thank God for that. And thank you so much. So, you shed light on the socioeconomic challenges as well faced by
Mhm.
women in our community, where, women are not really appreciated, especially in our community. But, so can you share like a story or experience that deeply moved you and maybe even inspired a song?
So, my song Oripi talks about something that I noticed around a lot of women with my parents, especially my mom, my aunties. You know, it talks about how women sometimes bear the brunt of like homemaking,
Mm,
and then also sometimes economics. Sometimes you actually have to take on the financial burden, and also trying to figure out your position and your role as a spouse, which can be challenging given our culture and Christian values, where the woman is supposed to submit. So that's what Uripi actually talks about. It talks about how sometimes it's difficult, and that women are fighting these silent battles, especially African women, and that I guess the appreciation, I guess it comes from, yeah, some, I'm not saying all families are like this, and of course marriages are different and women are valued very much. Women are plays a huge role, a significant role in our culture, but sometimes it can be difficult to navigate being a modern woman and being a mom, or being a homemaker, or even just a person who's trying to figure out life as a young girl, as a young woman. So especially when it comes to gender roles, your ambition, you want to be a leader, you want to be a CEO, you want to be a business person, and then trying to figure that out, and also be married. You also want to be married, you want to have kids. So it can be, it's really something else. So I don't really have one story, but these are observations, and that I saw growing up, especially because I sometimes some women are bitter. I don't want to say it, but it's like
mm,
you can
mm.
tell there's a lot that's buried, and there's a lot that's not talked about, and there's a lot of struggle, and
That's
it's
true.
worse even now as as well. We all expected to have a, you know, to work, to have a job, to have a profession, to have a career. It's even more difficult because the
Mm,
traditional expectations haven't changed. So
that's
that
it.
becomes a challenge for a lot of
Mm.
young women. Mhm.
Oh,
Yes.
wow.
Mhm.
And so you've brought up something that's, I know a lot of people, those who know me, they'll be like, Amanda, there's a word that was said that actually kind of pokes a nerve.
I can
And
imagine.
you spoke about, you spoke about submission. You spoke
Yes.
about eventually the new societal norms, which have not
Hmm.
changed the traditional norms, right?
Right.
Where
Hmm.
the woman is expected still
Right.
to hold the household, expected
That's
still, but forgetting that now women have been educated enough,
right. Hmm.
now have had their jobs. I don't want to use the word independent because I
Yeah,
know,
that can be, yeah, can mean different things.
and also submission,
Mhm.
but I'm not going to get into that one
I know that
because
one.
it's something that people do not understand.
That's true. That's very true.
And like you
Mhm.
said, back in the day, our mothers and their mothers were expected to just live in silence, be
Mhm.
abused in silence.
Right.
Because those words were not normal
Hmm.
in our culture, still aren't
Hmm.
normal
They're not at all. Yes.
in our culture. And
Yeah.
people like you who come out and call it out somewhat kind of become unpopular to a certain
No,
extent,
no, nobody wants to hear that. It's impolite. You don't, no, no, you can't say that.
challenged to a certain extent.
Hmm. Hmm.
Anyway, thank you for your answer. I am not going to get deeper because hi, there's some, I love when people stand up for what's right, right?
Hmm.
Because no one is courageous enough to do that.
It's difficult. Yes.
No
It's
one
not
is
easy.
courageous enough to do that because
Mhm.
we live in a cancel culture where people
Yes,
can just say, oh, yeah, we're not going to listen to her music. Like, who the hell does she think she is? Especially,
we do.
like,
Mhm. Like it's not. Yeah,
don't
it's
mind
not.
me.
I.
I am that person who actually digs deeper
Yes.
and also say uncomfortable stuff
Hmm.
and makes you unpopular. But I guess I am grateful as well for the gift of advocating for some of these things,
That's
and
true.
being and having the platform to do that, or the platforms to do that. And also, I
Mhm.
am proud of people like you. Who have to just stand out there and say, you know what, these are some of the issues that people do not want to talk about. These are some of the issues. Like I said, I have an American friend who came to me before she even got to come to, I think she kind of started understanding when she came to a play that I was a part
Mhm.
of and seeing
Yeah.
the cultural aspect of being an African woman. And
Right.
she's
Yeah.
like, because she used to say, I don't get you African sisters. Why is it you tolerate A, B, C, D, 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 D?
Yeah. It's this individualism that is clashing with
Mm,
our.
mm.
We're more community oriented.
Yeah.
So now you come and say, no, just block them. You don't need to talk. I'm like, I can't
I
block my
can't. Yeah. Yeah.
how do you mean just cut off your brothers? It doesn't
Yeah.
work.
It doesn't work like that.
We're not socialized like that. So
Yeah.
it can be pretty.
It's quite interesting. It's quite interesting. Like I said, we're all teaching each other, and she's also
That's
learning the African way of
mhm.
doing things. And there's sometimes like, Amanda, you're not supposed to, you're also good to initiate stuff. And I was like, no, but my African side doesn't allow me to do that.
Oh,
Because
yes.
I am still that African woman who still has her pride in such a way, who
Yeah.
still feels, this is how it's supposed to go. But then at the same time, also try and keep up with the current culture, whatever is
That's
going on, but then try and
mhm.
balance the two. Right, because it's
Yes.
difficult
Yeah.
having to still maintain your culture and then picking up another culture and trying to run with what works.
Yeah, that's sweet. It's very challenging. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right, Mamita. So as we move forward, what are some misconceptions about women in Zimbabwe that you aim to challenge through your work?
Well, the fact that they're expected to just be homemakers, the place is
Mm,
not only the kitchen. I mean, women have ambitions, they have dreams,
yeah,
and a lot of them have proven it. That we have some that have taken up leadership roles, and it's inspiring. We need to see that, especially young women need to see that women can actually take up these roles, take up these huge responsibilities, and excel. It's necessary, you
right.
know. Yeah, and
And so, what does that mean, though, for like the our support system being, yeah, our support system in that regard?
it's funny because if you actually speak to a lot of these young women, they're told something, you should get married, but make sure that you've got a purse, you've got an account that your husband doesn't know about.
Yeah.
You need to make money. You still need to, secure yourself in case something happens. There's this contingency plan that women are advised. You should make a plan, make your own money. So it's ironic. It's as if
Mm.
people are
Ready.
hypocritical when it comes to these
Yeah.
things. Like, okay, you make it seem like, no, your place is this. You do what your husband says. Your dream is your husband's dream, but then at the back of the room, you're told, no, you're
Yeah.
the neck. Let him think he's in charge, but you know what? You are the one in control of this
In
thing.
control. I know, trust me. So, I think this is where some of us get it wrong. Where we're like, but why would you want to put, like, I am so real as I come. Like,
Yeah,
I'm like,
it's just,
no, put in the
it's
word.
just yeah.
I know. I was also raised the same way, where you're like, yeah, when you get married, you better have your own account. But then I think for a lot of people, one thing I've noticed though, a lot of people have actually looked at it in a bad way to say, expect something bad to happen. Right,
That's
accept the
terrible.
worst to happen. But from how I was raised, it was more of, in case, in case, say maybe your
Something.
husband gets into an accident at work, at least you show
Yes.
up with something and
Sure.
surprise him
Right.
in a way. Do you
Mm.
understand? So it's more of,
Yeah.
be a backup plan more than
More
be
than
a plan, or more than find
you
a way
kind
out.
of idea. No,
Yeah,
no,
right.
no.
Yeah, yeah.
That's true. Also, I understand where that comes from because a lot of us, our mothers and our grandmas were like in polygamous setups. So
Mm,
it's they. Well, I wouldn't know for sure, but from what they say, you can't 100% on on your husband because he might
mm,
just decide to go marry someone else and forget about you. So
that's true. That's true.
you need a
That's true.
plan. Get used to with the kids. So I understand where they're coming from because that's what they know. So
Mm,
we're like walking a new different path. It's a whole new different environment for us. So we have to figure out a way that works. You
mm.
know.
Oh
Mhm.
wow, that is awesome and true. And I'm actually loving our generation.
Mhm.
Excuse me. And actually, question: would you be considered a millennial or Gen Z?
I'm a millennial, I think. Yeah. No, I can't even.
Yeah.
I'm a
Actually, so
millennial.
we're good. Oh, millennials is 80s. Don't worry. Like as in 82 to
To 90s, yeah.
80 to
Oh,
90s. So
yes, yeah.
you're a millennial,
Mhm.
right? Because
I'm a
we've had to
millennial.
see it, or we've had to to
Mhm.
to um unlearn
Mhm.
and learn new things.
That's yeah.
And because the Gen Zs have actually grown in a new environment, a new
Yes.
era, and we've had to
Mhm.
experience the olden way and the modern way, and
The
trying to
modern
figure
way.
out and balance life. So
Right.
yeah, and
Mhm.
we've had to hustle hard and
That's true. Mhm.
still be strong, man.
I know. Yeah, it's yeah. There's no. I don't know. It's an interesting generation to be part of.
Oh, our generation is so interesting. We're getting it left, right, and center, man. We're getting it left, right, and center. So in
Yeah.
a world where advocacy can sometimes be overlooked,
Mhm.
how do you keep your message both bold and beautiful in the music industry? Because
Yeah,
you're
so
definitely going to be challenged, but then at the same time, you want to be heard.
of course, of course. So what I've noticed is that well, we are visual creatures.
Mm,
We like looking at pretty things, and
mm,
hearing good sounds. Sometimes it's all about packaging. So
mm,
obviously, if I have a message that's going to make you uncomfortable, I can't just come outright and say it. You're not going to
mm.
hear me. So it's about finding a way to package it, and
Okay.
then in order for you to receive it. So if I make the melody catchy, for example, if I maybe make a reggae song or write a poem or tell a story or maybe
Mm.
interesting visuals that might get your attention, and if I have your attention, that's step one. Then the next thing is you have no choice but to hear what I have to say.
Right.
Mhm. So I
Oh,
guess it's about
wow.
packaging. Hmm.
It's all about packaging and holy, I was about to say you wouldn't, but then again, you wouldn't know who's going to take your package because people have different what do you call it? people love different things. People love, you're
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, maybe I'm packaging it well. And then some people are like, but why would you do it that way?
Oh, true. That's true. Yes. So of course it has to be in line with my values, with what I value, with
Yeah.
what's important and what my standards are. And of course it's only people that will get my message are people that resonate with me,
Mm.
and that's good enough. I mean, I always tell myself sometimes when I'm like, "Ah, you know what, why am I doing this? I know there's one person who's at least half as crazy as I am who would appreciate
Who will
this.
understand and appreciate my music? I know. That
And
is so
I'll
true.
do it for them. I'll do it for them. Yeah.
Exactly. And so also you explore how cultural practices, religion, and traditional impact young people. What are some of the tensions you see in your community, like in our community, between traditional and modernity?
Yeah, so what I've observed actually has to do with gender roles.
Mm,
Like we mentioned earlier, like right now you expect to go to school, get a degree, get a job, and also be a homemaker, eventually also get
mm,
married and have a kid. Like, but I haven't seen the template change for guys. They just, I don't know how. It's been challenging for a lot of young women, and I hear it a lot. At school, we used to talk about this also in the workplace. Like, it's difficult for women now.
mm.
It's not easy. And then there's the family expectation where, you expected to maybe take a certain career path. But then what you want to do doesn't really, it's not in line with what you're traditionally supposed to do, you
Mm.
know. And then of course maybe you want an unconventional career altogether. And then you hear, but in our culture as Zimbabweans, we don't do this.
I know,
Like, what
right?
what is that? So yeah, it can be something else. I think, yeah, it's been challenging for a lot of young women, and it's even worse with the
Mm.
economic situation. So yeah, it's something else. With
But do
religion,
you think in the next 5, 10 years it might change the
ah,
rate that we're going at, like right now?
5 years maybe a bit short, but eventually people are forced to change. I mean, the environment is just going to keep pressing. You're gonna have to move. You're gonna
Yeah,
have to change something.
yeah.
It's unfortunately the environment doesn't wait for anyone's feelings.
I know, right? It doesn't wait for nobody's feelings. It's like, oh, okay, it's either you do it or you're gonna catch up anyway,
You
eventually.
crash. Yeah, so you have to adapt or you die.
Right,
Unfortunately,
exactly.
like that brutal. Yeah,
And
it's
so
a
how do
jungle.
young people though in your audience response, sorry, how do young people in your
Mhm.
audience respond to your messages compared to, maybe our generation and older, especially when it comes to themes like gender and class? Because I've noticed that people
Mhm.
get, I don't know if I should use the word annoyed or agitated or triggered
Maybe
when you
triggered.
get
Yeah,
into the whole gender
it's
situation.
uncomfortable.
It's so uncomfortable, as if we have 10 genders, yet we have two. But
It-
I don't know.
I
Like,
have to
I am one of those who, like I said, some people are not
say,
comfortable. And
right.
I am used to, you better be uncomfortable because I'm still going to talk about it anyway, whether you like it or not. And I'm not going to back down. So,
Uh-huh.
how does the younger generation resonate with that?
So I noticed there's a lot of fear because they come. We talk about when it's just the two of us. Let's say maybe one young person or a colleague. They're open, but they like always give a disclaimer. I could never say this out loud in public. So it's like, of course, when it's out in the public, when everybody's when it's on social media, you of course have to conform to what's expected. But then they come to your inbox, or maybe after a gig or something, they tell you, you know what, I'm struggling with this, or maybe this is really difficult. But you can't say this if
Mm,
you're gonna be, you become an outcast if you want to come out in the open and challenge these
mm,
things, especially in these parts. So yeah, it's hard for them. A lot of
mm,
young people, yeah, they're struggling. I would
mm.
say that they have a hard time. Yeah, it's something else. A lot of women and even young men also. It's not just something that affects women.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So
something
how
else.
do they respond to it though? How do they respond, especially regarding your messages
Mhm.
directly?
Well, they resonate. They agree with it.
Mm.
Some, like, I'm not sure if I answered correctly. They like open, no, no, no. But
Oh yeah.
back door, you know
Mm.
what? You have a point. But I can't be seen saying that, you see. So it's like,
I
okay.
know, I know, I know.
So it's like it's a tricky situation. So I'm like,
Yeah,
okay, it's fine. I understand because not everybody has a safety net. I can come out and say this. Like I can take the backlash. It's fine. I know
yeah.
how I'm going to handle it. But for some people, they don't have the privilege. They
I
don't have
know.
a safety net to go fall back on if things go south. So you have to conform. They're
Oh
like, okay,
God, it's so sad. It is so sad.
you know what? We know the pressure. We do this because the church expects us to. But we
Exactly.
do this because, our culture insists that this is how it's done. But,
Exactly.
well,
Wow, I am actually proud of you for still going, regardless of the societal norms or cultural norms, and hoping that the younger generation is learning and being inspired by it. And like you said, usually it's easier when you have an audience that actually can resonate.
that
That
resonates.
resonates with your messages. But so, what other
Yeah.
challenges have you faced as a solo female artist with such a unique sound and message?
So I think the challenges have to do with the sound itself. There is no
Mm,
better time to be female. I mean, this is the
mhm.
best time to be female because of the affirmative action. It's great. I'm so lucky, and I've definitely
Mm,
taken advantage of that. We've been getting a lot of support as female artists. It's something I'm grateful for. The challenges have to do with the sound itself. Like,
mm,
I guess people are used to reggae, or rather mbira sounding a certain way. The
mm,
traditional songs, the way you play it, you know, it's it's different. It's not very
mm.
different, but it's from the way if you actually listen to the songs, you can tell. No, I'm not playing like a traditional mbira
Yeah.
um, musician. So that has been difficult for people.
Mm.
Like, okay,
I
so
know.
that's the side I like. What are you doing? That's not how you play. But okay,
Exactly.
it sounds all right. It sounds all
I
right.
love the
So I
fact
guess
that you
it's
actually
something.
hear them beer in the background. If you're somebody who actually listens to, like as
Mhm,
in if you're so passionate about music. Yesterday, I was actually talking to one of my girlfriends. She's like, you know what? Excuse me,
mhm,
the person that not blame per se, but who taught me
mhm.
how to listen to music was the person that taught, excuse me, my friend how to listen to music was a dad. And it's like my dad would actually let us break down the music,
Oh,
understand,
wow.
hearing the sounds, hearing this, hearing. And she's
Yeah.
like, initially she wanted to be a music producer, but it's just that she was raised in the wrong country. Right.
Oh.
Because when you see how much she knows music and she'll tell you
Mhm.
the history of A, B, C, D, and you kind of know, you're like, girl, who sang this song? Remember? And she'll tell you. Like
Oh,
she is that,
wow.
yeah, she is that
Mhm,
good. And she's like, you
mhm.
know what? The one person that I blame for me being like this is my dad, because my dad is the one that kind of made
I
me break music, break down music, right? And when I
Right.
listened to
Yeah.
your songs, I was listening to your music and I was like, ooh, it is actually different because you hear the mirror in the background. Pay attention to
Mhm.
that, right? More than just
Yeah.
it's not on the front line. If
No,
I should
it's
put it that
not.
way.
It
So I love that
is.
about it. It's unique. It's unique more than
Thank you.
anything. And I love that about you. And so are there
Thank
any other
you.
artists then locally or internationally that you'd love to collaborate with? And why?
Well, so I think locally, I think I'll take Amara. I would have loved
Mm,
to collaborate with Joanie, so she's
mm,
late, or maybe her daughter Chingeto, or maybe
mm.
Amara, because I think they might. I hope this is my assumption. I think they might understand me, and with what I'm
Okay.
trying to do
Mm,
as a mbira reggae artist. So I
mm.
think those two are the closest artists that I would like to work with. And
Right.
then internationally, I'm such a big fan of Chronix. It's a dream.
Oh,
I
wow.
don't know.
And it will
I'm
happen.
like,
That I am sure it will happen. I'm sure it will happen. And we
and
love the
then
fact that we have social media to do that. And right now we shall tag them on this video.
that'd be great.
And then post it around. But no, it will happen. Mm. And
Yeah.
why Chronics of all people?
I just fell in love with the first track. I remember the first time I was
Mm,
introduced to his music. It was my cousin. He's the one
mm,
that introduced me to reggae and dancehall. I heard one song by Chronix,
Yeah.
and then I'm like, okay. I didn't. I just had to look up who's this person.
Mm.
Who's this person? I'm like, oh
Right.
my! I just made sense. It's like when you hear something or you speak to someone and you feel like you've known them forever.
Oh, wow.
That's exactly how I felt with Chronix.
Woo!
The first time I had heard
Okay.
the music,
Okay.
I'm like, this is exactly what I'm trying to do. This person gets it.
This person would actually understand me.
Yeah, they know. This is great. Yeah.
Right. No, that's awesome. And hopefully one day, we know one day it is actually going to happen. So, what does being a woman of vision mean to you in 2025?
Oh wow. So I'm so happy, and we're so happy we're blessed with a baby boy. That
Ooh,
changed.
congratulations.
Like he's a year and some months old now.
Oh, that's lovely.
So it's completely changed my outlook in life. I'm like the way I used to think as an artist then and the way I think now. I'm
Okay.
like, oh my God, kids can really do something too. So I think about, okay, as much as I know I'm trying to send a message and try to maybe leave a legacy, I'm now conscious of, okay, what is my son going to say about this? And is he going to say,
Mm,
okay, if something is amiss, is he going to say, my mom would never have tolerated that? She would have
mm,
said no. She would have
exactly.
spoken. So it's like, okay, I want to be that kind of person who's like who he like looks up to, and whatever situation is going through, whether it's a life, whether it's adolescent, it's becoming an adult, it's not just a 2025 thing.
Mm,
Every single day, I have to be conscious of my choices, of my
mm,
decisions, and of what I do, and aware that okay, someone is watching me, listeners to watch and family. It's a whole different thing when you have a son or a child that's observing you. And
mm.
yeah, so it's like, okay, I need to be conscious of
And
what I
that
do.
person now
And I
looks
need
up
to
to
be
you.
deliberate. I need to be deliberate. Yes. And I need to be deliberate with my equipment, with my
Mm,
goals, with my whatever I get into, I need to make sure it's done and it's done well. I need to set a proper example as much as I can. I have to do my
mm.
best because of course, me and the father are the people that he is going to look up to. We are his first role models.
Yeah.
So it has, yes, that completely changed.
And so,
Having a
how do
kid.
you stay grounded then, regardless of you having a son and thinking, "Oh my gosh,
Mhm,
we actually his first role models," but then again, at
mhm.
the same time, I just want to bring out the message. How do you stay grounded and inspired in your creativity and advocacy?
I need alone time. So I need to,
Mm,
already, I consider myself an obsessive person. I, I have to think. I need alone time to really assess what I'm doing.
yeah.
And yeah, so it's one of those, I need quiet time. I need to think about what I do. I need to think about my future. I need to think about his future. I need to think about the music. I need to think about the message. I have to literally pick it apart. So
Yeah. Yeah.
spending time in alone time in nature, observing, it keeps me grounded.
Oh
The
yeah, nature
silence,
is
I think
amazing.
it's
People
silence.
have no idea how nature just brings you back. It just
It
brings
does.
you back. That's
Mhm.
awesome. And thank you so much, Alethea, for coming through. So what next should we expect from you? New music, collaborations, any new projects we should be looking out for?
So I think shows, because I had stopped
Woohoo!
performing live. I would love to go back on stage. I need to work on going back on stage. I'm definitely going to work on that.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
of course,
Oh
the
my
festival.
gosh.
Yeah, the festival's actually been something we've been working on. I need to get out there, not only locally, but internationally as well.
Right.
Yes, so that's, yeah.
Woo! This is exciting, baby. This is exciting. And last but not least, as we conclude today's interview, what message do you want to leave with the young dreamers listening today?
That's it's simple. Don't sit on your skills, yeah. Don't sit on your
Ooh,
gifts,
yeah.
passions. You have to make a choice every day. You need to work towards them. It's not just going
Mm,
to happen overnight. It's something you're working on a
right.
daily basis. Yes, so don't sit
And
on your
so, for
skills.
how about those who don't have a support?
Yes, so now that, unfortunately, it can be really difficult, I understand. But it's always great to find maybe just one person. Great. The great thing about being alive now is that the internet access. You can always find groups or
Yeah.
people that you share values or similar values and goals with, and that becomes your community. That becomes your support.
Oh, wow. I like that. I
So,
like that because actually I hadn't thought about groups and communities because, of course, that's where you get the push, and not every family understands our dreams. Look at Joseph, Joseph the dreamer.
yeah.
They didn't understand his dream,
They
but
didn't.
you know what? Families can
Yeah.
be like that. But thank you so much, Alethea, for
Thank
coming through.
you.
And guys, thank you so much for tuning in and listening
Thank
to our
you.
one of the most talented mbira slash reggae artists based in Zimbabwe. Please do follow her on the social platforms at Alethea Dzambo, and also all social media platforms other than just IG. Are you more active on IG or
Yeah.
all platforms?
Most, yeah, Instagram. That's where you find me. I'm
Right, I
always
know,
there.
right? And so we have YouTube videos and stuff like that as well, right?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Ah, that is awesome. And all the best in your music. Thank you so much for coming through and making time to share
Thank you
your
so much.
journey, to share your vision, your advocacy, your love, your passion, your thing with us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
No, that is awesome. I am going to release you now. I know a lot of people are like, oh, yeah, we're past time. But we try and, put a hold our time and say, you
Mhm.
know what, I just hope we did a good job here. And for everybody that was tuned in, thank you so much for tuning in, Alethea. Thank you so much.
Thank you once again. Thank you.
Awesome. Yes, guys, you heard it yourselves from the talented musical artist who is soulful, powerful, and deeply rooted in her culture. And if you missed this interview or just joined in the middle, just feel free to tune into our YouTube channel where you get to catch up with all our what do you call it, all our interviews, especially this one. This was really powerful, where you get to hear the story of not living it, saying uncomfortable stuff, right, and telling stories in a in a different way, where hopefully people will relate to and not criticize along the way. And those who actually haven't joined or follow our YouTube, our is it IG? Yeah, it's IG. Follow our IG After5Radio.Africa and TLG on After5Radio if you haven't yet. And those who actually tuned in, thank you so much for tuning in as we're about to sign off. To all our amazing listeners, our viewers, thank you for tuning in to After5Radio, your favorite online radio station celebrating Africans in the diaspora. Before I even log out, you already know next week we're going to be having a show that with the talented Gemma, who's actually here in Canada, baby. I am actually so trying to link up and play excuse me, and play her music here through our platform. But then again, I will try and use Spotify, and hopefully it will what you call it, and hopefully it'll play, because we've been trying to figure that out with this new streaming platform. So she is going to be in Edmonton, Alberta. And if you haven't gotten your tickets, guess what, I have a good news for you. I have good news for you. Where's this? Where's this? There we go. I have good news for you. Now you can get 30% off. I didn't even write 30% off here. Now you can actually get 30% off of Gemma's tickets using the promo code Tando Amy on After5Radio, as you can see right below there. Get your tickets today, and we will see you definitely next week on in Edmonton as we celebrate our musical artists. I don't know. Alethea, can you hear what you call it? Gemma's song in the background?
Uh, no, no, I can't hear it.
It's not play. It's not. You can't hear it, right?
No.
Yeah, it's quite weird. I don't know. We're still trying to figure that out on um how to get that out through the system. But anyway, with that being said, feel free to just get your promo tickets right here, and we will also come through during the week just to show you what else to expect next week. So I am your host, signing off this Saturday morning, depending on where you are in the world. Thank you so much. If you haven't already as well, make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the like button, as well as share this episode today with your friends. Let's keep spreading the love and the vibe. But until next time, baby, stay inspired, stay connected, and keep celebrating the culture. This is your host, aka the Hype Lady, Miss Tando Amy, signing off with love. Cheers, take care, and God bless you. Have a blessed Saturday. And thank you so much once again, Alethea.
Thank you once again.
Alrighty, you take care, and God bless you.